Hello, Mr. Tony of the Dead. This is my contest entry for your video 300 subs contest. And the contest that you're holding is pretty awesome, might I say. And I'm happy they got 300 subs. I almost forgot to say that. Way to go, that's more than I got, and I'm happy for you. And I won't lie, I'm kind of new to your channel, so I'm going to check it out more often, I promise, because you seem like a really cool dude. So, there are 3 questions, and I have to give a shout-out to somebody. And I gave a shout-out to somebody on my other contest video, and then I had someone else comment, well, where's my shout-out? And I felt really bad, so I decided I'll give this person a shout-out now, and that's CIC Pro 1, who I also made a contest for his video. I made a contest entry for his contest. And I'll put a link in the description below to his channel and his video for his contest entry. So CIC Pro 1 is my shout-out. Now, the first question is, who do you think is the most overrated actor or actress, and why? I'm going to have to say, I know she's a great actress. She's been around forever. She's been in one of my favorite crocodile films. She's over 80 years old and acts like she's 20, but that is Betty White. She is fun to watch, and she's entertaining, but I just don't see her as the most needed actress. She's really overused and very overrated. So I was going to say Danny Trejo, but then I thought he's more underrated than overrated. Then I was going to say that guy from Twilight, Edward, or Jacob for that matter. But then I said, you know what, that's just too obvious, so I went with Betty White. She's a great actress, though. The second question is, what scene in a horror film actually grossed you out? And this is kind of a recent one for me, because I've watched Day of the Dead a lot, and there's the movie that grossed me out is Day of the Dead, and I never noticed this till I watched it again on the internet and listened to it closely. And then I watched Cinemasker's review on it, and he said the same thing. I'm like, what? So it's the scene, not where the general gets it, because that's already gross enough, but the scene where one of his men gets it, and he's getting his head pulled off, and while his head's being pulled off, his vocals are being tugged and pulled and messed around with, and his voice is changing from high-pitched to low-pitched while he's screaming. I'm like, that is disgusting, and it made me shiver, it made me quiver. It was like, whoa, that is gross yet inventively creative. Now, the third and final question is the hardest one for me, because it should have been easy. It should have been like, hey, it's aliens. No, I actually like the first Alien more than the second Alien, but you don't even know the question yet, so why am I even saying that? The question is, what movie sequel actually surpasses the first film in that series? So which sequel is better than the original in the series? Now, I have a stack of movies here that I was going to pick, and then I'll count them down. I'll go really quick. But here are some of the nominees for better sequels than the original. The first one is The Collection. Really good sequel. I think it's better than the first. Mega Shark vs. Mecha Shark, which is definitely better than the first two. Leprechaun 2, which I think is the best since the first, and it's better than the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Leprechaun 2. Curse of Chucky, which I think is the best installment in the whole entire series. I know it's a little early for me to say that, but I still really enjoy it. Sleepaway Camp 2, which is by far my favorite one out of the whole franchise. Carnosaur 2, which is not saying much because Carnosaur 1 was bad enough, but I enjoyed it because it's my childhood film, and Carnosaur 2 I think is a lot better. Critters 2. I like the first one a lot, but I love the second one. Even though it's more of the same, it's more cartoonish, I still love it. Now, don't get mad at me for this one, but Pumpkinhead 4. It's not that I don't love the first one. I love the first one. I love the third one, and the second one's gloriously cheesy. But I was stuck on watching this one for a long time, because I had nothing else to watch. I had barely any horror movies in my collection, and this was one of them that I always used to watch. Then there's Friday the 13th Part 3. This is my favorite Friday the 13th film. It's better than the first, second, and fourth, which a lot of people seem to tend to rather than the third one. I just like this one the most. It wasn't easy for me to choose between Part 3 and 4, but it's Part 3. Now, this one was harder for me to choose because I couldn't decide, and I decided not to include this one as even an entry, but I wanted to show it to you guys as VHS 2, because I think they're both the amount of the same of good. They're both the same amount of good. And then this one doesn't even count because it's actually not a sequel, even though it's called the fifth installment. It's actually a prequel, which is Final Destination 5. Yeah, that's a good one, but I have 2 more. Then they're actually from both the same series, and it's hard for me to pick because I love them both so much. But it's Wrong Turn 4, which is one of my favorites, but then my favorite horror movie sequel that surpasses the original in a lot of ways is Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. Yes, Wrong Turn 2. So that's it. That's my contest entry for Mr. Tony of the Dead's contest. I'm glad if you guys enjoyed it, and if you didn't, sorry, but I didn't mean to make it unentertaining. I've just got a lot to do, and I had to hurry this up, but I really appreciate him holding this contest, and I'm happy to have entered. So, yeah, and as always, I am Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Movie Reviews. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below, and to leave comments and